For more updates, click on subscribe and click on bell button for latest notifications.
Hi friends, welcome to Tech Arkit YouTube channel. My name is Ravi. In this video session, we are going to see that how you can store the data and attach the disks to the instances and what type of disk types or the storage types we have on AWS. Okay, let's see here. If you build or if you spin up an EC2 instance, which is an elastic compute cloud, provides several storage options for instances running in the cloud. Example, you have spin up an EC2 instance, but you wanted to attach the storage drives to that, right? Example, you want to create a disk to store the database transactions, or you wanted to store some files associated with your applications, right? Application data and all. So how you can store that? You have these storage blocks which you can use, that EBS, elastic block storage, instant store, EFS, which is an elastic file system, just like EFS means NFS kind of in the Linux word. If it is an AWS storage gateway. So these are the four options you have to attach to your instance and store the data. What are those storage types and what they provide, and what is the performance of it, and what is the cost associated with that? Okay, let's see here. So EBS is an elastic block store, which means purely a block store where you can store the data, partition the EBS volumes as per your requirement. So which is for a high IOPS, like if you need a higher database transactions which you want to draw a high input output ratio, then this is the recommended platform for that particular instance. So high availability and durability. Data is persistent. Data is persistent means whatever data you store, which is the data will not go away if you reboot your instance or if you stop and start your instance, right? The data will be persistent. Create the snapshot to protect the data loss. So this is basically support the snapshotting of that particular EBS volumes so that it will be protected. In case if you lost some data from, then that can be recovered using the snapshots. So these are high performance disks, just like in a SAN attached storage kind of. Scalability and flexibility. So it can scale at any level, whatever the data size you need, that can go until that. So that's the EBS volume. So it is very low latency performance, which means that high IOPS you get. You can push the data and pull the data how fast you want. That's the input output ratio is higher. And also compared to the other storage platforms, the EBS is cost effective, can only be attached to a single instance. It means this cannot be shared across to the multiple instances, something like that, because it is just in a hard drive which is attached to your server. So the hard drive can only be attached to the one server at a time. So this is also the same one. So like you can attach the EBS volume to the one instance, like only one EBS volume to the one instance, multiple EBS volume to the same instance, something like that. But you cannot attach the same EBS volume to the multiple instances. That's the catch here. So let's see. Instance store is a type of store that provides temporary block level storage for EC2 instances. It is physically attached to the host server to the instance and provides high performance and low latency. So instance store means, so the name itself says that instance store, like where it will give you the block level storage just like an EBS volume. But the thing is, once you attach the instance, if the instance is rebooted, so the instance store will disappear. So that's the major disadvantage here. So which one that? So the volumes are temporary. So if the data you were storing here, it is not persistent, which means that it cannot be saved on that particular volume. So it only saved unless your instance is rebooted. If instance is rebooted, the instant store will disappear. So that's the cache. So what data you should store here? So if you have any temporary purpose data, example tempo files or some generated data, regeneratable data, you can store it here. But why you have to use this? This is for a temporary purpose, which is very cost effective and low cost instant store, where you can use this to store the data. Volumes are not resizable. So once you attach the whatever the size, it should be the same size. You cannot resize like AWS volumes. Volumes are limited to specific instance types. So there are these instance store are not available for all the instance types. This is only available for a specific instance. This is only available for a specific instance types. You can see EFS, which is equal to the NFS, elastic file system. Elastic file system means is a serverless network file system for sharing files across multiple EC2 instances, just like an NFS volumes, which is serverless. You don't need to think about what is the infrastructure behind it. So that would be maintained by the cloud provider. You just need to create the volumes, right, and export them, and you can mount it to the multiple EC2 instances. So that's the elastic file system, but it is not a block. So only supports the Linux file system because it cannot be mounted on a Windows platform, so which is an NFS, because the NFS only supported by the Linux. More expensive than EBS because it's the file server and the NAS is maintained by the AWS. Accessible across different availability zones in the same region, so you can access using the multiple across availability zones within the same region. You have multiple availability zones, you can use this. So this is basically shared folder to the across the multiple instances, so where you can host. The best example is that hosting the home directories. So you don't need to create a multiple EBS volumes to store the data, so you can export this EFS file system to the multiple instances and store the user home data. So that's the usage of this one. So main directories for business critical apps and data. The best example of use case is for users home path. So that is the use case we can use it, this elastic file system. Storage gateway, so is a hybrid cloud storage service that gives you on-premises access to virtually unlimited cloud storage. So what this will do is that this just like act as the storage gateway between your on-premises storage and the cloud storage, so which is seamlessly copy. You can retrieve the data from cloud to on-premises and on-premises to cloud. So this is the things the storage gateways basically work as a mediator. Seamlessly connects your local production to the cloud. Low latency access to the data stored durably in AWS. So that's the major part which required for any organization which is looking for. You should not have any latency while accessing the data. Uploads and downloads are securely using the SSL encryption. So it just use the HTTPS protocol to upload the data and download the data. So this is very secure. Mainly used for on-premises backup applications. Basically, if you want to back up the data from on-premises to the cloud, this is mainly useful because you don't need to maintain your online backup targets. You just have to spin up on a one storage gateway VM, then point the storage to the cloud, so it will send the data to the cloud. Provides highly availability on VMware, a set of health checks integrated with VMware vSphere and high availability. So where if you have integration with your VMware, which can provide you the high availability for that. So the next one, AWS backup. AWS backup is fully managed service that makes it easy to centralize and automate data protection across AWS services in the cloud and on premises. So basically it's used for the backing up the data. Using this service, you can configure backup policies and monitor activity for your AWS resources in one place. So that's the major thing. So whatever the data you stored, if you want to have a one backup copy, so AWS backup is the main service where you can create your resources backup. Integrated solution with EC2, EBS, EFS and more. Automated backup audit and reports. So this can provide you the audit reports, so where you can, if internal auditors or external auditor ask that, okay, do you have the backup copies running, so those are restorable enough to recover the data. So that's where you can generate the audits and reports on that backups, so you will have the better understanding or the better compliance with the audits. KMS integration, integrated backup encryption. So the KMS will actually the key management system where you can encrypt the data using the keys, right? Automated backup schedules and retention management. So thus of course most of the time backup you should not manually trigger any time. It should be automated and scheduled. Retention should be as per our standards, like this might be the retention like 3 months, 6 years, 1 year or 2 weeks, something like that. Or there might be long retention for 10 years or 12 years based on the customer data or based on the company requirement. So that can be provided, that can be possible using the AWS backup service. So these are all the storage options you have on AWS to store different types of data, different kind of architectures here. That's all about this video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Please subscribe to the channel for more upcoming videos and courses. Do share with your friends and families so that they can also learn along with you.